ladies and gentlemen, now hosting the RizzoCast, put your hands together for Steven Risotto!
What's going on, everybody, and welcome. My name is Steven Risotto. I'm the host of RizzoCast. I used to cover the San Francisco Giants for SFA, and I'm currently a producer for 95.7 The Game. I just mentioned I'm the host of RizzoCast, a podcast that features current and former big league players, coaches, fans, media, and others who are regarded as some of the brightest minds around the game of baseball. Today's guest is former San Francisco Giant pitcher Caleb Baragar, who joins the podcast for the second time. He joins the exclusive list to be two-time podcast guests on RizzoCast. And let me tell you, there's been a lot that's happened since his last appearance on the show. Since then, Caleb's baseball journey has taken him across the country, across the United States, across international waters too, pretty much every part of the game as well, independent baseball, affiliated baseball, the Mexican League, Asia. He's been pretty much everywhere. We dive into what it's really like bouncing around different leagues and countries, how the different styles of play kind of coexist, the levels of offense, culture shocks, postseason crowds in Taiwan, so much more, life off the field, all that fun stuff. This is episode number 186. Just a general reminder, we actually recorded this a few days before Christmas, so some of the stuff is maybe a little bit past due, but I'm finally getting the chance to upload this episode. This is episode number 186 of RizzoCast. Let's get started. All right, we are back on RizzoCast with Caleb Baragar. He returns to the show, a 2-year gap in between appearances. Caleb is nice enough to take some time out of his busy day. What's going on, Caleb? Welcome back.
Hi, Steven. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a blast, and it's been too long. We have to catch up more. But do you got any plans for the holidays? It's Christmas season. You're flexible enough to do this I think pretty much a week to Christmas, and the New Year's coming up after that. Do you got any plans for the holidays with the family?
Yeah, so we got my parents and my wife's parents are all coming in town, so we'll have a full house. But we did it last year for the first time, and it was a good time. So we're excited to have everybody here. I think my mom gets in on Saturday or Sunday. My brother gets in on Sunday, and then my dad and her parents come in on Tuesday. So we're getting things done. There's a lot of home projects that my wife will have me working on this weekend, I'm sure, but we're excited to host, so it'll be a good time.
That's a big responsibility. Like, are we doing what kind of food is there going to be? Is there just going to be like buffet style? We doing like turkey, meat? Like what goes on Christmas?
I'm gonna do a prime rib for Christmas for sure, and then probably a ham to go with it because we're gonna have a decent amount of people. So I'm not trying to get like a 25-pound prime rib. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it'll be that, and then I've kind of left my wife's mom, who's like a really good cook, to do some sides and stuff, and then my mom really likes to bake Christmas cookies, so that'll be her job. But I'm gonna handle like the big two proteins, and then everybody else can kind of like fill in the gaps from there. So
So when is my invitation going to come in the mail?
I think it's already out. Maybe it got lost. I'm not
Yeah, I
sure.
got lost. Yeah, anyways. And also, like, I mentioned New Year's is right after that. Uh, I mean, is it a thing? Like, have you ever had like a New Year's resolution? I think everybody's like, once the clock strikes midnight on New Year's Eve, everybody's kind of looking ahead at things they could, I guess, do better generally. But have you ever been the type to like make goals for yourself at the beginning of the year? Like, everybody has goals, but that time
Yeah, I don't.
specifically.
I don't do it on New Year's. I normally do it like as soon as the season's over. Like that's kind of my like New Year's resolution, if you will. It's kind of whenever the season's over, I'll sit down and like go through my goals there. But I don't do like I gotta get in better shape in 2026, or I gotta go to the gym more. Like I guess for me, like being an athlete, that box is already checked. Like if it's not, then I'm doing a disservice to myself anyway there. But no, I don't do the whole like New Year, new me kind of thing, I guess. But do you do any New Year's resolutions or stuff like that on New Year's? I'm curious.
No, not on New Year's. I mean, not on New Year's, and it just kind of happens when it happens, I guess. Like when an
Sure.
opportunity comes up, I'll say, okay, here's a goal that I'm going to set for this opportunity. Obviously, I'm not a professional athlete, so I don't have a season to get ready for. So it's a little bit different. But I mean, I always think because spring training, I think I've asked a few people this, and I'm going to ask you this. Um, is the best shape of your life like do guys come in and say, "Oh, Caleb, what's up, man? Like, how's your off season? Man, I'm in the best shape of my life." Like that's the cliche we always hear about. You show up to spring training. Is that a real thing? Like, do people genuinely like go up to you and say, "Great off season, man. I'm in the best shape of my life."
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think you get like this downtime where you have time to kind of put your body back together. If that makes sense, like the seasons are so long regardless of what level or where you're playing at, like you're going to get worn down. It's tough to kind of stay up on everything. It was definitely easier when I was younger to do that. Like, I mean, I'm 31 now, but I sure don't feel as young as I did when I was 21 coming into, or I guess 22 is when I got drafted, where it just takes longer to get your body ready. But I do think that's a real thing for sure. Um, I mean, I always try to be in the best shape of my life every year. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But you're always striving to peak, I guess, at spring training and kind of show teams that like, hey, I'm ready.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you know, again, we mentioned this. I mentioned this at the top of the show, but it's been 2 years since your last appearance on this show, and a lot has happened in those 2 years. You pitched for the Lancaster Stormers of the Atlantic League, the Twins AAA affiliate in St. Paul, the Mexican League, a few teams there, the Chinese Professional Baseball League. Before we kind of cover all of those stops individually, I do want to ask, did you ever expect your career to like turn out this way, like kind of being the well-traveled, all over the place, all over the world type of guy? Like, is this something that you think of in high school and college when you're, coming up as a, trying to learn to be a professional? Did you ever think that it would turn out this way?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Like when you come into baseball, you're really green and you're really naive in pro ball, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go play for the same team for 10 years, and like that's the only thing I'm gonna know. And like for me, it kind of flipped quick because I was in San Francisco having a lot of success in the big leagues at least, and then all of a sudden, like I was gone the next year. Like I got DFA'd quick and picked up, and then after that, it's kind of just I got shuffled off the roster real quick with Arizona, just kind of some bad luck, bad timing with a short spring, like, and then I just hadn't found my way back. Like I pitched well in spurts, but I haven't been super consistent. I've kind of been on and off the injured list over the last couple seasons too, so it's like one of those things of trying to just stay healthy. But you definitely don't think, at least I didn't personally, that I was going to be like bouncing to different countries and playing in different areas. But I'm kind of just on like the ride that God's got me on, like we're just the more I fight it, the less it seems to go my way anyway. So it's kind of one of those things over the last couple seasons I've just kind of surrendered and been like, I'm just gonna try to play as well as I can, and we'll see like where I can go play at and make some money and have some fun.
Yeah, no, 100%. And let's start with the Lancaster Stormers of the Atlantic League. That's kind of where we left off. And only three starts with them, but it was kind of a taste of independent baseball for the first time. How would you kind of summarize the difference between the minor league level and affiliated baseball and independent leagues? I know you only got like a brief taste of independent baseball, so maybe not
Sure.
enough to know the full difference, but did you notice a difference between the minor leagues and the indie ball?
Yeah, I mean, I got enough of the experience where I'd like to never go back, like respectfully. Like it kind of took me back to like my first couple years in the minor, or my first year or two in the minor leagues where you were making like $3 a day. It was one of those things where I was like, I'm kind of paying to play here, but like I feel like my stuff's good enough where if I pitch well, I can get out of here. And like thankfully I was able to do that, and Twins came and got me, so I got to get out of it. But the talent level's good. The talent level's good. I definitely think the whole shift of cutting down the minor league rosters, you've really seen a big disperse in talent. Like there's just not as many opportunities for I, guys like me, essentially, who are a little bit older, have some big league time, but like didn't stick for whatever reason. Still are talented, but nobody wants to pay us when they can still pay the younger kid who's got maybe more upside and might not be as consistent, but he's 23 or 24 and he's an eighth of the price of me. So like we might as well take that guy. And if he doesn't work out, well, we got six more that are the same as him. So it's fine. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, that's the story right now of like the American workforce is like when you could get something for cheaper, like, somebody that's cheaper and younger. is probably a better bet, or maybe not a better bet, but the go-to bet,
for sure.
opposed to someone who's kind of more seasoned and experienced and more expensive. But you mentioned you got out of there right away. I mean, the contract was picked up by the Twins and almost immediately. I think you had what, 3 starts there. Like, how does that process work for those that don't know? I know teams have their eye on professional baseball and the independent leagues, but like literally it again, 3 starts, boom. Like for those that don't know, like how does that process even happen like that fast?
Well, it was quick and it was interesting because the earlier in the day I was talking to the pitching coach there and he was like, "Hey, the Tigers have called. Like, would you be interested in going to Double A?" And I was like, "Yeah, man. Like, I'd like get me out of here. Like, I'm happy to go to the next level. Like, get back into affiliate ball." Um, I was like, "Yeah, like I'll pitch at whatever. Like, they want to send me to Low A, fine. Like, I'll like as long as the money's right, and it's going to be better than where I was." But we actually had another guy get signed by the Twins who was a high school guy. So I think what was really interesting is on that team in Lancaster, I had a guy who was 35 with a World Series ring from the Astros, and then we had like 2 kids fresh out of college. So that there were just so many age gaps, and one of the guys ended up getting signed by the Twins. So we had like a big meeting before our pre-practice for the game or whatever, and they announced that he was signing with the Twins, and everybody we were all cheering for him, like super happy because his first time in pro ball. And everybody goes outside, and the manager's like, "Hey, come to my office real quick." And I was like, "Am I in trouble? Like, what did I do wrong?" He's like, "Hey, the Twins are going to sign you too, but like, it's not nearly as big a deal for you to go back as him." So I didn't want to make a big deal, and I was like, "Oh, sweet, like, cool." So it was pretty quick, and I was really thankful for the Twins to come get me, and I really really enjoyed their organization too. Like I had a good time in St. Paul. Unfortunately, like I was really hot when I got there, and then I got hurt my second start, and I was out with some hip stuff for like 2 months, which was really unfortunate because I felt like when I was going in there, I would like my stuff was really good. I was really sharp. I was like, man, this is gonna be the year where I'm finally gonna get back to the big leagues. And then just a freak kind of right hip injury took me down for a while, and then I came back and stuff was starting to trend better towards the end of the season, but it was kind of one of those things where it was too late.
Yeah, no, and then of course last year you ended up, or I guess 2025. I don't know how to say last year or this past season. I guess this past season.
This past season
The
works.
past season you were playing in the Mexican League and mostly Tijuana. I mean, this is the first time that you've been international. So we talked about first time independent league, first time international. I mean, I have seen glimpses on TV of some of these games with the Mexican League, and they just look insanely energetic. So I'm going to ask you, how is the atmosphere in Mexico different from maybe that you experienced in the United States?
It's just a party. Like it's just a party. People are just there having a good time. Like the scoreboard's running the whole game, basically. Like they're playing music kind of the whole time. It's just a big party, but it was really fun. Like the atmosphere was pretty electric. I was really fortunate to go pitch in a big playoff atmosphere there on the road in Torreon. And their stadiums, it was like an old soccer stadium, so it's kind of like a bowl. So it was kind of like a weird dynamic with like a kind of amphitheater setup a little bit. So it was really loud. And I think it was only like 15 or 20,000 people there, but it was so loud that I had my pitch comm up to like 30 and I still could barely hear it. And I'm normally a guy who keeps my pitch comm at like 10. Like I want it to be as quiet as possible. Like I want to barely hear it. And so I'm like there holding it down, like trying to hear in that. But the fans are super cool there, man. Like they'll get after you though. They'll call you out, and my Spanish got pretty good. I learned a lot of bad words too from that, but it was a great experience, man. I really enjoyed it. Like our team was pretty heavy foreign guys, which was interesting. I think we did the math and we had 19 guys with big league time. So the competition level in that league it's basically 4A. I was pretty confident that you could take our team. We'd go beat the crap out of a lot of AAA teams, to be honest, just because we were all old. We were just older, so kind of one of those things where we're more expensive for the American affiliate teams, where like Mexico's like, "Oh, we'll pay you. We don't care. Like, we'll just go have fun." So,
Yeah. Who are some of the guys with the big league time?
I'm sorry.
Who are some of the guys with the big league time?
Domingo Herman showed up towards the end of the year. Julio Tehran was there. Um, who are some other guys?
Do
The
guys
Jack
just like
Mayfield.
show up? Like it just happens where like they rotate throughout the season. Some guys just show up, then they
Yeah,
leave, show
it's
up.
it's very quick. Like it's very competitive there. Like the pay's good. So it's like if you're not winning, see ya. Like if you're not playing well, see ya. We'll shuffle you out. Like I'm drawing a blank on some of the other guys. Like Hernan Perez has a decent amount of time. I think he's got like 7 years through a couple teams.
You know, with the Brewers, the utility guy.
Yeah, yeah. So we just had Junior Lake was on our team. He was like the big Uber prospect with the Cubs. Still one of the toolsiest players I've ever played with. Like he hit some homers this year that might still be going. I don't know. They were loud. They were loud, but we were good, man. Like there was a lot of good players around the league. Like obviously the Diablos they have a ton of big league guys too. You know, Trevor Bauer pitched over there last year, but their rotation was good. Like I think the Mexican League was a little slept on by a lot of guys coming into it. Like I didn't know what to expect other than like Trevor pitched there last year, so I was like, all right, there's got to be some decent competition. And then I got there and I was like, oh, I played against that guy, played against that guy, played against that guy. You know, you're facing the team in Torreon. They had Didi Gregorius was there, Jonathan VR was there. Then they had a big righty. I'm drawing a blank, but he's got like 9.5 years. We looked it up and we're like, damn, dude, you got 9.5 years. Like, what are you doing playing in Mexico? Like, go home to your family. But sure, if you want to keep playing. So it was crazy, man. Like, there's some really good talent down there.
Yeah, no, I for sure. And I did want to ask, like you mentioned, you know, with the family and the guy that had 9 years and stuff. What was the living situation like? Like I'm curious just to know, like, you know, you and your wife, did you guys live in Mexico in Tijuana? Did you live in like San Diego area? Like what was that kind of like adjusting to life somewhere completely different and what was the living arrangement like in Mexico?
So for the first half, I lived in the team hotel, which was like downtown TJ, really nice resort, super safe. It was great. And then my wife was going to come halfway through, and I was like, let's just get a place across the border. Like the team gives you housing money, or they pay for your housing in the hotel. So it's like pick whichever one. Like they take really good care of you down there. And so I would just cross every day, and like if I was pitching, my wife would come to the games. I was like, if I'm not throwing, like don't go through the whole process of crossing the border, getting a taxi or an Uber by yourself. You know, like it's safe, but you got to be smart sometimes too. You know, like it's just a different country, and my wife's a pretty blonde girl, so she stuck out pretty well. So it was one of those things where like, we'll be cautious about what we want to do there.
Yeah, no,
So
I'd imagine there's some caution that has to go into that. Like, I mean, was that like tedious, like crossing the border every, you know, every day going to the ballpark? Like, was it just like, did you ever get like I know from movies, like I'm thinking of We're the Millers. I don't know if you've seen that movie where they
yeah,
have
yeah,
like
yeah.
just the RV full of just dope. Like, I know it's not like that. You're not doing any of that, but like, was there any situation where like just you got stopped or something? I don't know if that happens, but.
Um, Not personally, or there's another story I can tell, and after I finish this thought about us getting stopped in Laredo by the cartel, which was terrifying.
Yeah.
Um, but no, every now and then they'd give me a hard time about like, hey, where are you going? And I'm like, I play for the Toros. They're like, all right, where's your work visa? I'm like, all right, it's right here. And they're like, okay, like, but and then every time I'd come back, they would actually like it depended on who was working the desk, but I'd come back at like 11. And if I got somebody I knew who I was crossing, because I would cross every day, they'd be really chill about it. But if it was like a new guy, he'd be like, "What are you doing? How much money are you bringing back?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't have any cash. Like, I'm not taking cash down there. And I'm definitely not trying to smuggle it out. Like, I want to go home and go to sleep. It's 11:30, dude. Like, just let me go home." But it wasn't too bad. It's just tedious. It depends on the line. Like some days the line was long. You'd wait like an hour to cross back, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, not too bad. So what happened with the cartel? I mean, if you want to tell that story.
So we were driving to the stadium. So the way Laredo's set up, they have two stadiums. One's in Texas, Laredo, and then one's in Nuevo Laredo. And so we were playing in Nuevo Laredo, so we stayed in a hotel over there. Don't ever go to that city. It's terrifying. And we're driving to the field, and all of a sudden we get stopped in the middle of the road. And some guy is like some younger kid gets on our bus and starts like counting. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, this is weird. Like, I've never seen this guy before. Like, we're in the middle of the street. And he walks off, and then we just go to the field. And I was like, what was that? And they're like, oh, it's a cartel check. I was like, what do you mean it's a cartel check? They're like, yeah, they wanted to see who was on the bus and how many people. And I was like, okay, that's terrifying, but sure. It's kind of the Wild West down there a little bit, man. It's kind of the Wild West. You gotta be careful.
Yeah, no, it's like those it's I mean, now that I know that those Instagram videos that I see on my Reels thing where like they just block off the road when people are driving by, like that has actually happened to someone that I know, I could say. So,
Yeah.
very interesting. Don't go to that city for those listening. You would avoid conflict and random young kids getting on your bus. So, we don't want any of that happening. You mentioned you learned Spanish. I mean, how much Spanish did you learn and like how much do you need to know? Like hypothetically, I know Spanish and English, like, there are differences, of course, like obvious differences. They're two separate languages, but you could maybe get by with some things. And then, from the flip side, some of the guys who are native tongue Spanish speakers might get by English wise. So like how do you kind of balance that and what did you learn?
I learned a lot, but I tried to like immerse myself in it, if that makes sense. Like I tried to talk to my Mexican teammates in Spanish. So like I got pretty good. I wouldn't say I'm conversational, but I'd say I'm relatively close. But to get around, like as long as you know basic stuff, it's pretty simple. Like donde está el baño? Like where's the bathroom? Like just like simple stuff like that is pretty easy. But I don't know. My wife was pretty impressed because I always used to tell her like, no, I know Spanish. And like we went to Spain and I was able to like show her that, oh, I do know Spanish. This was this past off season. And then like when she came, whenever she'd come to visit me and we'd go out to dinner in Mexico, like I'd always order in Spanish and she'd always be like, okay, like, yeah, I guess you really do know some Spanish. I was like, yeah, I'm not just bullshitting, but like I got it covered,
Yeah,
like
love it. Still
I'm
impressing the wife. That's still a thing. That's
trying
awesome.
to, trying to.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So like no Duolingo like lessons necessary. Just you kind of just pick it up as you go.
I'll pick it up as you go. And I mean, it's a lot of the words sound similar enough to where you can piece it together. And worst case, like just ask them to slow down because they speak so fast. They just speak so fast.
Yeah, no, in high school we had like boarding students who would I went to a private Catholic high school. We had boarding students who were from all over the world, Africa, China. And for some of them, I think one of the things that people would do is just point. Like, oh, like use your hands a lot. I know it's like yeah, but sometimes it works. So I'm glad that the whole language barrier thing worked out for you and you got something out of it because I learned nothing in my 2 years of high school Spanish. But I think
Yeah,
going to a foreign country would change that.
I took it in college and I learned more this past year than I ever did in college too. So like just immersing yourself in that. But I will say I learned zero Mandarin. Well,
Now
I learned
see,
like forwards. Like
I was
that language is a nightmare to learn. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
yeah, when something is not written the same, like with the different letters, like it's almost just yeah, you can't do anything about it. Like our brains, Caleb, are made for only so much sophistication. And I was gonna ask about that too. I was gonna ask about I guess we could just hop into that. I mean, at the end of the 2025 season, you did go to what is it, the Rakuten Monkeys, I think it's called,
Yep.
in the Chinese Professional Baseball League. I mean, what was there a culture shock going over there? What was that level of culture shock compared to the United States and even Mexico?
So I was fortunate that a couple of my teammates from my team in Mexico had played over there, so they'd given me a little bit of the lay of the land, and then I had a really good buddy who was playing over there as well. So I had some stuff to go on and kind of know, but I remember getting off the plane and looking up at the monitors at the airport and being like, I don't know any of the things that are up here. I don't know where to go. Like it's just so different. I was kind of just like, oh gosh, what did I get myself into? But thankfully, with phones, you can take a picture of it and throw it into like Google Translate or whatever, and it'll tell you. So like when my interpreter wasn't around, me and my wife really leaned heavily on our Google Translate on our phones for sure.
Yeah, ChatGPT.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that I'd imagine that's a big. I mean, I've had guys on here that have played in Japan that, a different country, but still same level of just like, where is everything? Where do I go? So, it's good that you had to rely on people there. And I do want to ask from a baseball sense during this time, like this entire time, everything we've talked about so far, you were mostly used as a starting pitcher. And obviously you cut your teeth in, big league bullpens. That's how you cracked big league rosters is through away the bullpen. But it was kind of cool seeing you get the chance to be a starter and go through that routine again. So how was that kind of adjusting back to, being a starting pitcher?
I love it, man.
Yeah, you got a smile on
I
your face.
yeah, being a starter's so much better. Like I only gotta check in for like one game a week. Like being in the bullpen, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing like a bullpen adrenaline rush. Like there's really not. But being a starter, like your routine's just so much easier, and like I know exactly what I'm gonna get each day. I can plan out my lifts and my programs and my eating and my sleep. Like I'm very regimented, and that seems to work really well for me. Now, that's not saying I wouldn't, if an opportunity presented itself to come back to play in America out of the bullpen, like sure, yeah, sign me up, great. But I don't know. I really enjoyed getting to pitch again instead of just throw too, if that makes sense. I feel like out of the bullpen, it's really easy just to like rely on your best stuff and just kind of rip stuff as hard as you can. Whereas a starter, it's much more of a like cat and mouse game, like pitchability, like mixing different pitches and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just really enjoy starting.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask about that because, coming out of the bullpen, and as you saw, I had Matt Whistler on, who threw literally
This-
85% sliders. Literally 80. So you could get away with that in the bullpen. I think you were like a big four seam guy, right? And we
Yeah,
talked
I
about
was like
that.
the opposite of Wiz. It was like no breaking balls and just fastballs.
Yeah, like all fastballs. And I think we talked about that in the last podcast. And I remember Jake McGee was there around the same time, and he was like the same exact arsenal, just four seam guy, heavy, fastball up kind of guy. But so what did your arsenal change like when you were playing, like from when you were playing professionally in the States and pitching out of the bullpen from becoming a starter? Like how did your pitching style adjust? You mentioned you felt like you were pitching more and not throwing, but I guess explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it forced me to start throwing my slider more. I'll give Bailey some credit. Like he was always kind of telling me to throw a couple more sliders. And I was like, well, I don't know where it's going. So I would rather just throw a fastball because I know I can at least throw that in the zone. But this is, this transition's really forced me to like hone in some breaking balls. Like I went back to my old curveball from like when I first got drafted, which is just like a really big breaker, just as like a different off tempo thing. And then I picked up like a kick change, or it's kind of like a modified split this offseason too that I started throwing. Um, so yeah, just kind of getting into pitching, and instead of being like 80% fastballs, I try to keep it down to like 50. That was kind of like my goal, but there were a couple outings in Mexico where I was like feeling good. I think there was one outing where I think I threw like four sliders and the rest were heaters. So I was like, all right, it's still there. Like I can still do this if I want to, but the pitchability aspect, it's just fun to not have to rely on one thing the whole time, you know?
Yeah, 85% sliders, Matt Whistler. Shout out.
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff. And I so you sent me a video of the atmosphere in Taiwan during the postseason, right? The Taiwan series, I think it's called. I mean, how was it being there? I mean, we know about what the World Series looks like on TV. I don't know if you've ever been to a World Series game. I've never been to a World Series game, but uh I mean, how would you describe just the atmosphere and being in that series and being in that country and how much the fans are into it?
I'm literally getting goosebumps right now, just like thinking back to it. Like it's unbelievable. It's something I've never experienced anything like it. And I pitched at Dodger Stadium, obviously like Giants Dodgers huge rivalry. I pitched in 21 when it was like the first day back when they opened up like 100% capacity again. So that was like one of the loudest games I'd ever pitched in my life. And that doesn't even come close to how loud like those final games were in the dome. Like you couldn't hear the person next to you like screaming at you. It was so loud. The fans there, no disrespect to any other fan base, but they're heads and shoulders above every other fans that I've ever played for. Like everybody's so into the game. They have like chants and dances for each player. Like you just got to go experience it. Like I've heard it's very similar to Japan and Korea, like just that whole little Asian pocket of baseball, the way they just care so much more about like their teams and their players, and they're just so diehard. And it's like they go and they're on their feet dancing in like 95 degrees at 100% humidity for 3 or 4 hours, just like no one's distracted by their phones or anything either. It's just so different. It's so different. It's so beautiful to see people really like indulge in the game that much. I don't know. It's funny too because I remember my first day, I wasn't allowed to like go out to the dugout or whatever. I had to like sit inside, and one of my buddies who actually was on the team, which is one of the reasons why I signed to the team that I did. We were in there like talking, and all of a sudden I heard the stadium go nuts. I was like, "Oh, we must have hit a homer!" And like we looked at the TV, and it was like this little dribbler past the pitcher, and I was like, "Man, these people are just go nuts for like any little thing that happens." It's so incredible. The fans there are so incredible.
No, I think I was talking to Dan Straley on this pod, and he pitched in the KBO, I think, and he
Yeah, I
was
played.
telling me, yeah, he was telling me how he just like, I mean, the fans were like drawing pictures of him and having
Yeah,
people.
it's
Did
crazy.
you ever have that experience where you're just like, wow, like these people like really like me?
Yeah, it was really a shock because like I showed up my first day and like leaving the stadium, they had announced that I had signed, and there was like 400 people waiting for autographs afterwards. And I was like, I haven't even done anything for you guys yet, and you guys want me to sign a baseball? Like, all right, fine. So I stayed for like an hour and a half and signed for everybody. But yeah, you'd like be out in public and someone would be like, oh, like my name over there was Kyla. Like they gave me a Chinese name, and so it was Kyla, and they'd be like, Kyla, Kyla, like photograph, and be like, all right, okay, like just at random places, or like you're on the train and like somebody taps you on the shoulder, like, hey, can I have a picture? I'm like, yeah, of course. Like it's just really cool how much they like appreciate you going over there to play, you know, like they really do love their players over there.
That's awesome. And what was the championship? You guys won the title, right? Like, what was that championship celebration like?
It was different because we weren't allowed to do it in the locker room. They made us do like the champagne stuff out in the outfield. Which was honestly kind of better because you could like the fans stayed, so we could like celebrate with the fans. Like it's always fun to mess up a locker room, right? Like it's always fun
Yeah.
to spray some champagne there, especially if it's not like your home field. But it was really cool, man. Like it was cool. They did this big streamer throw, like when we won. We're like all of our fans were in the outfield, and they threw because we were on the road and we won, and they threw like maroon streamers, and it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen when there's like 10,000 people at the same time throwing a streamer, and they all go like flying onto the field. I'll have to once we get off here, I'll send you some more videos. Um, but it was super cool. There's another video of like our guys tossing our manager up in the air, like our 75-year-old Japanese manager getting like ragdolled by our team. Like it's just wild. It was such a cool experience, man. It was so cool.
That's awesome. And I guess technically to the current day, like, are you still technically with the Monkeys? Will you be with them next season?
We're trying to work out some contract stuff right now, so we'll see what happens. I believe they have my rights till the 28th of February for that league. Like, I'm free to sign with a different league, whether that's Korea or wherever, or if a team over here wants to come get me, I'm a free agent. So, we'll see what happens. But right now, yeah, Rakuten owns my rights till the 28th of February. And if we don't reach something by then I'm allowed to sign with another team in that league. But until then, they have my like rights, but there's no deal in place yet.
I got you. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, but like any goals for the season? Like, do you have any goals from a baseball standpoint on what you want to accomplish in 2026?
Just to keep having fun. Like this was probably the most fun I've had playing baseball since I was in the big leagues, and probably halfway through 21, like the second half of 21, I didn't have a great time, but I didn't have great numbers, so it was kind of part of it. But just to keep having fun, man. Like I'm gonna be 32. Like I'm not super old. Like I talking to Raj earlier today. We work out at the same spot. He just signed a deal and he's 35. So like there's still plenty of life, but I'm really happy just being able to pitch and have a good time while I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's not going to be Rogers' last deal either. He's got kind of the pitching style and the regimen that he could pitch for a while. Like he could go
Yeah,
into his
yeah, for
40s,
sure.
no doubt about it. Like he's got that I could see that for him for sure. Yeah. Um there's another thing I was going to ask you, and this is kind of Giants related, just kind of putting the Giants tie on. I want to ask you about Tony Vitello, and I want to ask you, as you know, being a guy who's gone through the ranks of college baseball, right, as a player, like, and I don't know I don't know how much comparing and contrasting you want to do with your own college coaches, but do you think this is something that could like I don't want to say be the new norm of college coaches making that jump regularly, but like, do you see something like this working out where like a college coach with no professional managing experience in professional baseball working out? Like, do you see this as something that could work, and what challenges do you think he's going to face?
I mean, I guess how far do you want me to peel back the curtain of what goes on in those rooms, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll work out. I'm sure it'll work out well. Like, I would trust Buster to hire the right guy, to be honest. He's been around baseball for so long. I trust that he's going to hire the right person for that job. Do I think there might be some bumps? Maybe. I don't know. I guess it's kind of going to be the thing. Like, is he going to have respect to the locker room? I would imagine so. Like, we're all adults, or I mean, most of us are adults at that level. So I would say it's probably going to go well. I don't think that like if you look at managers 20 years ago, they had probably different stuff on their plate than they do now. As far as like the analytics side or like what does the iPad say in situations and how much is going to be left there. I did like that part. I have no idea what his role is going to be there, but I'm sure people are excited. It's cool when you get a younger guy in, a little bit more hip, a little bit more like closer to some of the players' ages and kind of that new school where he can create like a mold for himself. Like I'm excited to see how it came out. I was kind of shocked by the hire, but I think it's a cool route that they're going. I hope it works out for him for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess the only one concern that I have like looking at it is that he's mentioned some things in the interviews where he was like, yeah, like getting together in the dugout after a loss or going down the left field line. I was like, this is not what you
That's
think
not
it.
that's going to be
Yeah.
interesting. I'm not sure if that's going to work out,
Yeah.
but
And like I don't think he's gonna make a lot of friends if first day of spring training, like Rafael Devers is running sprints with everybody else in the outfield and everybody's doing the same drills that, I don't know. You probably know
yeah,
better than me,
I
but like
feel like
that's
college and pro is so different, right? Because if you're like a major league manager, you're more like a CEO.
yeah.
You're not as hands-on with everything. And I honestly think my college coach did a really good job with that. I played for Chris Lemonis at Indiana, who then went on to win a national championship at Mississippi State. And I didn't really get a ton of like coaching from him as much as I got from my pitching coach, but I thought that was good. Like he was always one to deliver the speeches or like give us our talks or like go over game plans and stuff like that, like at the beginning of the week. And he was like our leader, but he was really good at delegating like the workload. So I hope that it's going to be very similar to that with Tony. I mean, then again, who am I to tell that guy what to do? Like, obviously, he got hired for a reason. Like, I'm just a player who doesn't even play in the big leagues anymore. So, like, whatever my opinion is, it's fine. But, like, I don't know if running everybody down the left field line and having meetings after the game is the smart move. But hey, man,
They're
like,
not going to do it. They're not going to do it,
it's
Caleb.
your business, man. Like, if you can get Webby to go do that, more power to you. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Hey guys, like we lost a really tough one today. Like I know they just walked us off in 12 innings, but we got 143 more games of this. See, I mean it's just
Yeah, well, that's the thing with baseball too, right? It's like you can't get too high and you can't get too low because the
yeah.
season's so long.
Not
Like,
60 games though,
yeah,
except
yeah.
1 year, but he's gonna have, and also like the pitching staff part of it too. He's got to manage a pitching staff that is not a staff where you could have a Tuesday night guy and then have him come back during the weekend and you have a Friday night and all that stuff. It's going to be a lot different. So he's
Yeah,
got some
I
big league
mean,
guys on his staff though that could help him.
yeah, he actually hired one of my buddies, Christian Wonders, to be. I think he's like the assistant pitching coach now. Like I know
Yep.
Christian, he's a really good baseball mind. I think that was a really good hire for them. So I'm excited to see what he can do there too. But yeah, man, I think he'll be good. I think he'll be good. I think he'll probably learn quickly that it's different, and like obviously it's different. You're not managing 18 to 22-year-olds. You're managing, I don't know who the youngest guy is. Who's your youngest guy? Like,
Bryce Eldridge is coming up and he's their top prospect power hitting first baseman and he didn't go to college. So he was
so yeah,
drafted
so
out of high
you get
school.
one guy, but then you got a bunch of other dudes who are pretty old too. So it's just kind of finding a balance. I think he'll do well. Like if Buster made the hire, I have faith in him that it's the right hire.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it. And I mean this is like way down the road, but like have you ever thought about like what you would do after baseball? Like, has that thought ever come into your mind? Like, would you go into coaching? Would you like, I mean, did you go to school for something that I don't even know your academic background? Like, maybe you would want to revisit something you went to school for, but like, have you even thought about that, or is just not at the top of
Yeah,
mind
I
right now?
mean, definitely like when I went to indie ball, I was definitely contemplating like what am I going to do with the rest of my life here? Like if this is not going to go the direction that I want it to go. Thankfully, like I was able to get back to affiliate ball, and then this last season made some good money playing overseas and internationally. So like I think my baseball career is kind of coming back around, hopefully. Um, but yeah, so I was actually pre-med in college. And so I like had to talk with my wife during that year. I was like, hey, like I might need to go back to med school. And she was like, I don't know if I want you to be gone for like 7 more years. I was like, all right, that's fair. And I just been kind of doing some searching, and my uncle is a contractor in Hawaii. And so I was like talking to him, and like, I don't know, I kind of want to build houses when I'm done, to be honest, but I don't want to just build like normal houses. I kind of want to center it around like health span and longevity, and just kind of making like a healthy home, if that makes sense. Like I've just we bought a new house here, and it's been nice, but there's a lot of stuff that I would have changed if I did it myself. And like the attention to detail wasn't as good as I would have done it. So it's one of those things where I think the niche here, especially in Arizona, like there's a lot of push for like health and health span here, you know? And I that's definitely the route that I'm gonna kick into whenever I'm done playing.
Yeah, wait, I'm really interested in that actually. Like, what do you mean by like healthy home? Like, what aspects of a home and of a house would make it considered healthy, like in your eyes?
So like obviously EMFs are a hot topic. So it'd be super low EMFs. There's a lot of toxic chemicals that come like just in your paint or in your drywall, and there's plenty of options of stuff that you can use. They're just like slightly more expensive, and they take a little bit more time to install, but people don't do it for that reason because everything gets built up so fast. And then also, it's gonna sound kind of like I don't know, maybe kind of foo-foo or whatever, but like mold toxicity is kind of like a hot topic too right now, and
Mhm.
like all the homes are built with like wood framing, and my uncle actually does steel framing in Hawaii because it's so moist, right? And like people think, oh, Arizona, you don't really have any mold, but there's so many houses here that like you get mold and get rotted from the inside. So if you start building it with steel, you're not going to have any of those issues. So if you fix like the studs with everything and like build it up through steel, then you won't have that issue. And then if you have like the non-toxic drywall solutions and stuff like that, it's also going to soundproof it better. And then like the low EMF stuff and like better water filtration systems, better air filtration systems. Like there's a lot of things you can really do to like make a home better for your longevity and your health span. And there's just really not a market. Like nobody's doing that right now, but I
Yeah.
think there's a decent market here for it.
Yeah, and you're not it doesn't sound strange about the mold because I'd imagine there's people that are living with mold and they don't even know it
Sure.
until they visibly see something. But the stuff that we don't visibly see that hasn't been visibly appeared yet, I guess like you just never know. So it's kind of one of those things that you gotta watch out for. By the way, Arizona, I was there in March for the first time and I loved it. It
It's
just
a
yeah, everything. It was super hot in at the end of March. It was everything was like close by. It was actually I went the week after spring training ended. Don't ask me the scheduling on that one, but I missed But it's great. You could go to Tempe to Scottsdale in like 5 minutes, and then like all the other stuff is pretty close by. But we went like horseback riding, we went shooting, we went hot air balloon riding. So it's a cool,
I mean,
cool.
it's a good spot. A lot of California people keep moving here and making all the property go up too. So like if they want to stay back there, that's fine. But you know, it's okay.
I can't blame them. But also, like, if you have you been to the Grand Canyon?
I haven't since I've lived here, but I did visit when I was younger.
Yeah,
So
no, that was
just
pretty cool too. I got to see the
yeah,
Grand Canyon, and there's also there's like the McDonald's, like the different colored McDonald's,
yeah, in Sedona, the blue
Sedona.
arches, yeah,
Yeah, with the blue arches. Yeah, so
yeah.
uh,
Sedona's like one of my that's probably my favorite spot,
yeah.
honestly. Me and my wife go up there a lot just to go hiking and be out in nature. And it's also like if you're ever here in the summer, like that's where you want to go because it's not so hot up there. It's like much more tolerable. But in the winter, you can get some snow up there too, which makes for some really cool views when you get snow on that red rock. It's really pretty.
Yeah, that is cool. It reminded me of like the scene in Cars where they're driving through like the like on our way up there, just like the like Cars Land in Disneyland and stuff. So it was cool. We saw a game there too. It was the preseason D-backs game. I caught a foul ball. So usually I'm in the press box at Oracle, so there's no foul balls that come in there. But I caught a foul ball on a fly. I was sitting right behind the plate on the second level
That's awesome.
by Noel on the Guardians. So Big Christmas.
Oh, nice.
I don't know his first name. So
John Kenzie. Yeah, I
yeah,
played
John
with him
Kent.
once in Cleveland too. Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you play with him? That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Um,
he's awesome.
and and it was coming in like a beach ball, and I made the play, and I had my moment, and you know what the common thing is when you make a catch is you hold it up. Like that's just the normal,
Yeah, absolutely.
natural. Yeah, and everybody's like, woo, and I just held it up. It was cool. So I'll have to
That's
send you
amazing.
that picture, but
Love it.
that was my highlight, one of my highlights of Arizona. Um, Final thing I have for you, Caleb. It's just a random question
Sure.
that I've asked a few other people. Like, what are you currently watching right now on TV? Are you watching a show, binge watching a show? Any
Yes.
movies, good movies recently that you've seen? What's been on the queue?
I've been watching Landman. It's on Paramount Plus. I don't know if you've watched it, but it's
I've
electric.
heard
It's
of it.
yeah, it's worth your time. It's pretty intense, but it's cool to see the way the whole like oil thing works. And I got into it because I was hearing all this stuff about Texas Tech and their football team spending like $40 million in their NIL collective this year. And I was like, where are they getting all this money from? And I did a little bit of research, and there was like this giant oil tycoon who's basically funding their whole season this year. And it like popped up on my things to watch. I was like, oh, I'll give it a try, and it hooked me pretty quick. So it's been good. It's been really good. I recommend it.
Yeah, all the streaming services, they know us pretty well, huh? Like they know what we would like. They do a good job of like putting stuff on there that we would like. Like there's that one show, the Vince Gilligan show on Apple TV, the new one, and I'm blanking on the name of it. But Vince Gilligan, of course, is the director of Breaking Bad and stuff, and who's done a lot of a lot of cool stuff. So that's on my queue too. So I got a bunch of things I got to watch, and Landmine is apparently one of them now. So I'll
Yeah,
definitely
it's good.
check that out. But Kayla, man, this was a blast. I definitely appreciate you coming on again. Well, again, we'll have to get you on again for a third time. I don't think I've had a three-time guest of this podcast, but you seem like a pretty strong candidate. And
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll
maybe
be
we'll
happy.
do an in-person one of these days.
That'd
I'll
be
bring
great.
some equipment. Yeah,
That'd be
I'll
great.
I'll bring some equipment. I'll like fly out to Asia and we'll do all that.
That would be fun. That'd be a good trip for you for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it. And definitely a big happy holidays to you and your family.
Thank you as well, Stephen.
And everybody could go ahead and follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at RizzoCast. Go check us out there. And then, of course, Caleb is on Instagram too. And as I pull up his page, it is at Caleb_Baragar. So go check him out. He's got some good stuff about his experiences. Hit subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Happy holidays to everybody, and we'll see you next time.